Meaning of life and the Quran. In today's presentation, we will very briefly look at some of these aspects. For further details, please visit Islamic Dance Society or email as noted on the slide. Quran says, "Be not like those who forgot Allah, so He made them forget themselves." Those are the fasiqun. That is, we have a self, and if we do not develop ourselves by what is given in the Quran, then essentially we forget the higher purpose of our life. There are two ways to live life. First is that my body defines me. The issue of my body take priority. Self will come into it sparingly. All struggle in life will be to meet its needs and desires. The second, my self defines me. Body will form part of it. I should look after my body to be able to do righteous deeds longer. And the desire in this case will be, our Rabb, give us good life in this world and good life in the life to come. And this is what we'll be exploring very briefly today. We get influenced by where we are born, by our family, society, and schooling. We experience life by interacting with others. We only see part of the reality because of the local influences, and we normally question more if poor than we are rich, and we can provide justification for any of our actions. Some of the questions which come to our mind during our stay in this life: what am I doing in this world? What am I? What is the purpose of my life? Why do I die? Chris Evans once said on the BBC, how nice it would have been if we had died first and then lived ever after. Why do human beings create problems for fellow human beings? Why do we fight? And the Quran says, be not divided among yourselves, because Quran declares us as one mankind, one community. On human free will, I'll quote here a very interesting definition: whatever does not spring from a man's free choice or is only the result of instruction and guidance does not enter into his very nature. He does not perform it with truly human energies, but merely with mechanical exactness. When a laborer works under external control, we may admire what he does, but we despise what he is. And free will gives us choice. And then the question is, how much choice do we have in our lives? Emotions, some of these are listed here, and there are loads of other emotions. For example, and within these emotions, then we have scales. For example, we can be angry, we can be very angry, we can be very, very angry. And some of us might have seen some who are angry all their life. Thinking. This gives us ability to question. It gives us rational thinking, ability to create problems, ability to solve problems. It gives us free will. That is where we make choices. Ability to make decisions, ability to create ourselves, ability to use our emotions, and ability to create. Deliberate decisions become part of ourself. That is, wherever we use our free will, those become part of our personality. Self-concept defines us at any point in time. We do not have internal guidance or conscience. Conscience is internalized society. Whatever are the values of the society, those become our values. The Quran invites us to use this ability on a continuous basis to understand haqq, which is truth. And it says that we should continuously use our intellect and reasoning and reflect. Values are principles or standards of behavior. They influence our thinking and decision making individually as well as collectively. This can be an individual sense of right or wrong. Values are two types: absolute or permanent, which do not change. The first man in a cave had the same values, and the last man leaving this world will have the same values. Relative values, these vary, as noted here. Individual level thinking. Each one of us wishes to maximize his/her happiness and minimize his/her pain. This creates problems. So we require some rules to avoid or minimize conflicts or wars. There are two purposes of life, or two views of our life at an individual level. Life ends with death, and there is no further stage to our existence. Our life goes on beyond the physical life, and there is another existence based on our actions or deeds in this life. The first view, death becomes a deadline. Maximize own happiness and minimize our own pain becomes the objective. Powerful, rich wish to accumulate. Pursuit of power and wealth becomes the sole aim of life. Our thoughts since precede all our decisions, so these have effect on our personalities. If value-based self does not emerge, so no further development in the hereafter. Life, when it does not end with death, this view is based on belief in accountability, rational thinking within the domain of the permanent values, integrated self emerges. We have revealed to you a book in which is your own development explained. Will you not then reflect? This is what the Quran says. There are two ways to live life. First, without permanent values, we essentially live a life of trial and error process. In the second one, when the Quran gives us the permanent values as a reality right the first day, and then we can use our intellect and reasoning and understand them and then live our life within that, and that will give us a self which will gradually develop and should be able to claim its own place in the hereafter. It is a storage of our thoughts and feelings. Through education we store knowledge. Through training we improve our understanding of the subject of interest. It helps our internal decision making. It hides our intentions. It defines us at any point in time as it holds our self-concept. It is our choice what we wish to put into it. If it is not in our memory, we cannot use it. Every self is in pledge for its deeds. That is what the Quran has declared. So we are accountable for whatever we do. I is changeless. I is our sense of identity, our self-consciousness. And around it, everything is changing. Emotions, word is changing. Emotions, thoughts, decisions, everything changes. Relationship, jobs, health changes. Values, beliefs change. Our body ages. Day and night, that is time changes. And universe is changing as well. This equation gives very briefly what do we have. We have sense of identity. We have emotions, simple thinking, thinking about thinking, which is also called meta-cognition, memory, physical body, our own other selves, that is 7 billion plus people around us, world and universe. And then we have the Quran, and we all live this life in the presence of Allah. We don't have to be poor to know poverty. We don't have to be rich to know richness. We don't have to be dead to know about death. We don't have to be unequal to know about equality. We don't have to be discriminated to know discrimination. We don't have to be unemployed to know the pain of unemployment, because we have empathy and imagination and the Quran. To conclude, let us start thinking as the Quran directs us. It involves no cost. It's never too late to think, and absence of thinking is self-imposed ignorance. Each one of us has a self which has the potential to develop. This life is our only opportunity to develop ourselves. The self develops differently depending upon the values it chooses to follow. Our thinking affects the development of ourself. Every cause has an effect. Haqq is when appearance is equal to reality. The longer we as mankind will take to come to the permanent values, the longer we will have conflicts, wars, exploitation, misery, inequality. The Quran deals with the issues of the self. Like a seed, the growth of an individual self is the first step towards a collective change.